Are you ready?
Starting now?
Now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
But
you're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature, and another Thursday night recording, which, again, nobody would fucking know if I don't say anything, but
No.
That's what we're all about. We're about true and just, it's all about honesty with us, right?
That's right. Transparency.
whether honesty is good sometimes with us or not, it's honesty. But yeah, I mean, we can talk about obviously why, because you got a thing going on tomorrow. But I think we got plenty of stuff to talk about. But to begin with, yes, we were supposed to have a guest on tonight, Eileen, but we got a message from her earlier in the week, I think Sunday or Monday, I can't remember which one. I think Monday. She had a situation she had to take care of. We're going to try to get her rescheduled. It probably, based on the month of November is kind of full-ish because we have our buddy Michael coming on. We've got our gratitude episode coming up. Just some shit going on. So it's probably going to be December, but we will obviously try to get her rescheduled. But yeah, fuck it. You're stuck with us.
Right.
I was about to say we got plenty to talk about, but the reason, well, and you know what? Again, I get these fucking sheets full of stuff that loads up. So one way or the other, we always have stuff to talk about. But real quick, before we get to the reading, I just wanted to say, because it happens to be an anniversary of somebody today, too, come to think of it. My daughter and my son-in-law, it is their 4-year wedding anniversary today. So happy anniversary to them.
Happy anniversary to them.
Yeah, once we get kind of settled in, I got a couple of brief stories that popped into my head. Nothing huge, and then our friend Angel from, I should have looked up the episode.
Right, an earlier episode.
Yeah, Angel from Cleveland, one of our good friends.
Right.
She's got her anniversary today for 11 years sober.
Yep.
So it's kind of funny because I was actually just talking to Kathy. I've got to get up to, I think I'm going to run up to Wisconsin on Saturday. Kind of see fall shit colors and shit again. It's going to be one of the last weekends to do it. But I also had and I know I told you about it, but there was an individual that had contacted us that has like recovery coins and that sort of thing. And she had sent us some samples, which we're going to take a look at, probably do some promotions on it. But I mean, basically, they haven't expanded into I think anything above 6 years, for sobriety dates. And one of the things she mentioned was she said they haven't had that big of a demand for some of these longer term things. And to begin with, I was like, that's kind of fucked up. I'm like, we know a lot of people that are that have been sober for a long time, but I do know. It's just we also know a lot of people that have, in the 20, 30 and 40 year range, and then a lot of people in that probably 1 to 10 year range, and then there is probably I don't know, a shallower number of people in the middle sometimes. I don't know. But yeah, it was just
and quite frankly, like us, we've established ourselves, and we have people that give us special ones, and yeah. So the run of the mill stuff. I mean, my home group, we've got a big thing full of coins, and we don't hand them out very often.
Right.
Generally, it's it's the 30, 60, 90s, and the 6 months and year, couple years, stuff like that. But yeah, once you get past that, hopefully, if you're doing something right, you've got a support system going on, and they hook you up.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I was thinking about when I was talking to Kathy. I'm like, just thinking about our entire group, and this would have been yesterday, obviously before. I forgot that it was Angel's anniversary, but
Right.
I mean, everyone in our group is, I think, over 6 years, right? I mean, even going back to some of the people kind of on the outskirts of our group. I mean, everyone's got. We got a good group of people. We're
Sure.
fortunate to have that strong of a group of sober people. So it's just it's kind of cool. The more I thought about it,
Mm-hmm.
But other thing, just real quick, and I was listening to a couple of other podcasts over the last week, and
How
it seemed
dare you? No.
I know. Well, one of them was
There
actually
are other podcasts out there.
one of the ones I listen to quite a bit is our friend Matt from Sober Friends. So
Hmm.
listen to his podcast because he's a supporter of us also. So, and plus he
Right.
was on ours, but he's always talking about supporting the podcast and this and that. And I know we talk about it briefly, but I just don't think we've been big enough whores lately. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of things real quick. I think we need to whore ourselves out a little bit more for the
Nice.
good of the podcast and everything else that we try to do.
Uh-huh.
But first thing, hugely important, Hazelden, the Betty Ford Hazelden Foundation.
Right.
Take a look at all the stuff that I'm going to talk about is on our website, which is SoberNotMature.com. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hazelden Betty Ford, we've actually partnered with them to accept donations through us. They don't sit with us at all. They just go through straight to Hazelden Betty Ford. But there's a page on our website, also a link on our Instagram page. The website itself, we do have a store. That's SoberNotMatureShop.com, but
Mm-hmm.
it can be accessed obviously through our main web page. We've got all of our Sober Not Mature merchandise. We've got coffee. We've got some T-shirts, candles, some other things on there. But, if you feel like grabbing yourself some of that, that's on our store.
Mm-hmm.
This week we've been posting episodes because it's coming up on the anniversary of our mom passing away
Right.
a year ago. So we've been posting clips from those episodes from a year ago. So that's episode 37. If you want to hear how we, I guess, handled it, right? Talked about it,
Right. Yeah. Dealt with it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Processed through it if you want to get all fancy and touchy feely.
Right. And there was what I re-listened to. I think I listened to 30. It's the main episode is episode 37, but also 38 is after we were at the
Right.
funeral. And I think there was
Mm-hmm.
2 times in there when I mentioned about if there was a psychologist or psychiatrist to something, listen, like, fuck it, it's our process. Leave us alone type of
Right.
thing. Which is kind of funny, but it does. We talked a lot about grief and how to deal with it, how we dealt with it. It's not
Right.
necessarily how everyone else could or should, but
Yeah.
um,
Right.
so feel free, listen to that if it helps, great. If not, obviously supports us, and she was a huge supporter of us in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, also through the website, we do have the Buy Me a Coffee link. All that is, it's an opportunity for if anyone chooses to. We're not begging for money. We can handle all this stuff
Yep.
on our own. But
Mm-hmm.
any money that goes either to the Buy Me a Coffee or anything like that through that. We have never, I don't think I've ever, maybe I did at the end of the year, took money out of that and put it towards something. But all it's
Right.
going to do is go towards, we put that money back into things. And it made me
Mm-hmm.
think about this because we're coming up on a year of having this Riverside.
Right.
Actually,
Mm-hmm.
when we re-signed on that. So that's $200 or $300,
Right.
for us to recoup it. And once again, we can do it. We're not going to shut this fucker down because of $300. We're going to keep doing it, But
Right.
if you feel like supporting us and your favorite
Mhm.
2 guys here,
Yeah.
I couldn't even say that without laughing. Your favorite 2 guys. But yeah, feel free. Buy us a coffee. Anything and everything helps. And lastly, if you're listening to us, because we have a core, what I consider to be a core group of people. I don't know everyone that's listening, but
Mhm.
we average anywhere between 100 to 150, quote unquote plays per episode, which means
Right.
pretty much the same people are listening.
Mhm.
So do us a favor. If you like what you hear, or even if you can't stand it, I don't give a fuck. Share it with
Right.
somebody.
Right. Yeah, either somebody you like or somebody you don't like. Here, listen to this.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah. You know what? Bet them something, and that's going to be their punishment. Could be listening to our podcast. We don't
Right.
care. Just we're looking to grow, and we continue to. But it's always fun. You know, if we can grow a little bit, that's always helpful. So.
Yep.
There concludes this session of Mike and Bill being horrors. Well, at least
Right.
for that part of it.
Let me get this mattress off my back and we'll move along.
Right. Now let's be horrors for good information and good thoughts. Why don't you do a reading? How's that?
Why don't I? As always, this is from God Grant Me. This is actually yesterday's. I read it yesterday and went, hey, it ain't half bad. I think I'll share it on the podcast. So
Nice.
Here we go. Shirking responsibilities is the curse of our modern life, the secret of all the unrest and discontent that is seething in the world. L.M. Montgomery, she wrote Anne of Green Gables. All right. Believe it or not, responsibilities are wonderful things. We only have to think back to our childhood when we wanted responsibilities. We wanted to help the big people do things to prove that we were big too. Being a big person and having responsibilities was good because we believed that the big people had power and freedom. We were right back then. Being responsible means that we do a good job taking care of the business of life. Being responsible means growing up. When we do step 4, we find ourselves the character defects that keep us from growing up, mostly laziness and fear. In step 6, we become ready to give up the fear and laziness that keeps us from growing up. We become willing to take action and do our own work. Prayer for the day. Higher power, please help me live like a grown-up today. Pretty damn simple. And today's action, because this is a program of action. I will think of one thing I did today that was a responsible new behavior. I will be proud of it.
Okay, so a lot of that I remembered actually, since it was only 2 days ago, right?
Right,
Or
yesterday.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
okay, 2 readings ago in my head. Let me put it that way.
Right.
But so what did you do today that was responsible?
Too fucking much.
Right.
Way more than I wanted to.
Well,
Yeah. Seriously. I mean, I got off work, didn't want to do that, but I went and did it. And then after work, I needed to hook up with my co-treasurer for my home group because I had to pass off the treasurer's bag, the bank, and all that stuff. Because I'm not going to be there Sunday. Because we didn't get sober to sit in church basements. We'll get to that. But anyway, so we did that, and then some moron decided he wanted me to be his sponsor, so I had to go meet with him for about 20 minutes, and do that kind of shit. I had to tell him the story about acceptance and the Dust Devils and Let 'Em Whirl. Because he's at a house and he's like, yeah, man, these guys are. I said, yep, I know, I was there. Here, I got a little story for you. The same story that was told to me by my sponsor when I was saying the exact same shit when I was at the house. So, yep, and then now I'm doing this goddamn podcast. So yeah, I'm all kinds of responsible that I don't want to be today. How about you, Bill?
Just the fact of how you said that makes it even better. But yeah, I did some work today. I followed up on some things that I needed to from obviously from a work standpoint. And God, was I responsible like anything out of the ordinary? I don't. Well, you know what? I did the responsible thing and made sure that a particular process got done because I didn't get an email on it like I thought I would, or like the process had been. So to make sure that
you took initiative.
I did, to make sure that our customer and basically my customer actually gets taken care of.
Right.
yeah, did this, I mean, this is a thing.
Hmm.
I wished my daughter, and my son-in-law a happy anniversary. That's kind of the
Right.
responsible thing to do.
Right.
I didn't forget about it. And then yeah, I mean, I get this all set up and got my shit all wrapped up on time, and um, ate my responsible dinner early, and then
Mm.
responsibly sat down to do this shit. But yeah, it just kind of cracked me up. It's like, what responsible action? I remember reading that too, and of course,
Yeah.
once it, once again, I mean, I never used to read the actions because I knew I wasn't going to do them,
Right.
and that started here, on during this
Hmm.
podcast in the last, probably, well, maybe was within the last year, whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
And we had started doing the readings within the last year. So yeah.
oh yeah, yep. And yeah, because we were talking to somebody. We had a guest on, I think, that we were talking about. I don't even know, but it hasn't been that long, But I read
Right.
those, and I do think about them. I don't
Hmm.
necessarily, again,
Mm.
physically do whatever the actions are, but
Right.
it makes me think, and I'm hoping maybe there's a little part of it that's making me a better person because I'm more
Nudging you
cognizant.
towards it anyway.
Yeah. So what I'm doing, and the last thing I always write down little notes when when you're
Hmm.
doing the reading. But the last thing I wrote down in there was take action because that's huge. And
Yep.
the second to last one was laziness and fear. Um,
Yep.
take care of the business of life, which we just talked about. But I like I like the beginning of that because it talks about responsibly or responsibilities and the fact that we wanted them
Hmm.
and wanted to be big,
Sure.
and then it always reminds me of that meme that says, we all wanted to be adults, didn't we? Now look at us. Fucking look at us. And
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, you know what? Being an adult has its advantages. I mean, if I want to, I don't care if I want to, eat two ice cream cones in a night, or if I want to eat a
Hmm.
piece of candy first thing in the morning, or, if I have whatever food I want to go out. It's all about food, apparently in my head.
Right.
If I want to go take a drive, and I want to drive along this scenic drive in Wisconsin this weekend and look at, you
Hmm.
know, fucking natural beauty, I could do that.
Right.
I don't have to ask anyone necessarily. So,
Right.
yeah, it's nice, but then everything else that fucking goes
Right.
along with it,
Well, the responsibility that allows us the freedom. Right.
right? Yeah,
Yeah. Can't have one without the other, unfortunately.
I know. Isn't
We
that a
tried
yeah?
for 40 some years.
I don't think any of the adults at that time, because it said, oh yeah, when you get big, but here's everything else you get to do too. But
Right.
because I probably would have blown our minds in the in a bad way at that time. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's the thing of it is, and obviously, I think this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyhow, that all these responsibilities, clearly are more manageable.
Hmm.
Now that we're sober, and
Sure.
it doesn't mean, and we say this all the time, life still happens. It's still life on life's terms. It's all those different things. But if anyone out there, regardless of what you're doing to stay sober, if you've done the work and you've taken the action, and you've built up all these tools, the whole recovery, or at least the AA saying is, having your toolbox,
Right.
full of stuff. But if you got a little, container of tools there, then when this shit hits you, you know how to deal with it. Or worst case scenario, you should have somebody to turn to. That's the
Hmm.
whole point of, not doing this thing alone, right?
Right. First
Yeah.
word of the first step. We.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that I know I've said it sometimes to myself. As new shit hits me, is um, you never know how to deal with anything. In life
Right.
in general, but certainly when you're sober, you got all your fucking ducks are in a row. You got some shit, you got some years. You're 5, 6 years sober, and then some fucking train hits you from the from your blind side. And you're like, what
Hmm.
the fuck?
Yep.
But and I've had plenty of those moments. I know you have too. But
Right.
I can remember there two or three right off the top of my head where I texted you or I called you, and I'm like, This is, I'm probably blowing this out of proportion, but or this just happened. What do I do?"
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
so that's what we do. You gotta reach out to somebody.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Right. Can't do this by ourselves,
Yep.
which is
Part,
good.
yeah, and that's the thing too. Oh, this is I'm actually glad I just thought about this. So, this is not something I had written down. I was going to make a note on it, but I forgot anyhow. So I'm glad I remembered it. So, Kathy and I were talking about again something last night, and I think it was about when we were talking about the coins and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
somehow again, our dad came up, and she had said, she goes, you know what? She goes, knowing everything I know about the program, she's like, she goes, I don't know how to say this. She's like, I don't know if he really, and I said, he didn't necessarily, towards, at least at a certain point, I said, I don't think he
Mm-hmm.
was getting the complete value of what
Mm.
he could have been
Mm.
out of his sobriety, And I said,
Right.
but worst case scenario, I told her, I'm like, he did everything he needed to clearly to stay sober, but
Right.
and we've told stories. I mean, he was not necessarily acting in the best way. He certainly wasn't, happy, joyous, and free all the time. I
Mm.
know that for a fucking fact.
Right.
And I know he wasn't going to a lot of meetings. And she's like, "Well, he stayed connected." And I'm like, "Meetings are what they are, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't go to a lot of meetings. I still enjoy the fuck out of them. I
Right.
went to your home group on
Right.
Sunday. Had a great time.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I mean, it was a decent lead. I just like being around people. I like the atmosphere.
Right.
And you've clearly said it. You go to your home group to more or less be a service these days,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't need to hear the fucking drunkalogs anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I go to be of service to have some idiot walk up to me, before the meeting. Hey, man, I need a sponsor. All right. All right. Well, call me on Wednesday at 7:00. Of course, he didn't. Uh, right. I straight up tell him too, because at this point, I've had so many guys, that I've dealt with, tried to help, whatever. And, I just look at him and say, look, man, I'm going to give you some real simple things that don't have anything to do with anything, but you need to do them. And then we'll add to it. And, yeah. And that's always my first one. Call me on this day at this time. That's your first assignment. And 9 times out of 10, they don't do it.
Right. Well, and did you ever I guess maybe this is a good topic to talk about. Again, this
Mm-hmm.
just kind of came up with this, but so did either one of your sponsors? And I know Joe didn't do it with me, and I don't think he did it with you. Joe
Mm-hmm.
is your third sponsor, my second.
Right.
But Joe never made us call him, every day
No.
or anything like that. We just kept in touch, and he would
Yeah.
be one of those things when we saw him in meetings, he'd step back a minute and, kind of
Mm-hmm.
eyeball us, top to bottom. And usually his line was, okay, you still look sober. And then
Yeah.
he'd walk into the meeting,
Right.
But did Tim, your first sponsor, did you have to call him every day? Were there any
No.
rules set up or anything?
Nope.
Or?
Nope. Well, I mean, all 3 of my sponsors were Bob's sponsees.
Mm.
So, that was which I kind of intentionally kept that continuity. I mean, I know I told the story on here about when I walked up to Bob after that hour and a half long lead that he did out of spite.
Right.
Because it was the Wednesday that I needed to get a sponsor that day. And he just looked at me and said, "You want me to be your sponsor?" I said, "Dude, I just need a sponsor, man." But yeah, so I consciously did that. I kept that line throughout it. Yeah. So no, I did not call Tim every day. I saw Tim twice a week at meetings. And I talked to him when I needed to.
Yeah,
Which
and
is the way I sponsor. Call me
Right.
if you need me. I don't want to fucking hear from you every day.
Right. Well, and that's the thing that I know at that time, and in my first sponsor, Bill, he actually was really hands off. I mean, even before
Mm-hmm.
when he got sick, it was a different story. I mean,
Sure.
clearly, he had more shit going on than having to deal with my ass. But he had this. He's such a laid back guy, but he was good. And he was good to me, and he was definitely good for me.
Right.
But I mean, he didn't. He always answered my calls. And
Right.
if he didn't answer the call, he'd always get back to me, always answer my questions. He was always available, maybe not immediately, because he was clear.
Right.
He's like, I work, I do this for work, this and that,
Yeah.
but this is what it is, and I will get back to you. But I just know there was other guys and people out there sponsoring that, you got to call me every day, even if I don't answer the phone, you have to call me, and
Right.
and I mean, again, it's a matter of, I suppose, like the Keating Center with us cleaning 17 times a day, getting yourself into Can you follow directions? Can you,
Right.
again, take the action, I suppose,
Yep.
and go from there, and it's fine. But yeah, I mean, the people that I sponsored, it's been a long time since I sponsored anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of took that same mindset as we were given from the people who sponsored us, is that
Right.
I'm not going to chase your ass,
Oh, no.
and
Right. Yeah. You need to do the fucking work. I'm here for you if you need help, but I'm not going to get you sober, dude.
right,
Yep.
yeah. And I remember there was one in particular, and he was again, I knew he went out. You can always tell.
Mm-hmm.
You stop hearing from people and all that stuff, and
Sure.
you start hearing the whispers and the rumblings. And I would usually try to either one text or one phone call if they were supposed to be at a meeting or something I was going to be at. Then after that,
Right.
it's like, fuck it. I mean,
Yeah.
in that, I don't know if anyone out there, if that sounds cold, it is what it is.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
your favorite line about the bar stool. You
Mm-hmm.
can't drag somebody off the bar stool. You can't
Nope.
make somebody get sober. You can't make somebody call you. You can't make somebody do anything. And if they
Mm-hmm.
can't do something as simple as make a phone call when you asked,
Mm-hmm.
or show up when they said they would,
Right.
or let's say read the 24-hour book,
Mm-hmm.
every day that takes two
Right.
minutes,
Yep.
then I can't do anything for you because
Yeah.
there's nothing else I can help you with.
Exactly. Again, you've got to do the work. I'm
Right.
just here to guide you a bit. Yeah, that's it. And right. And I'm sure as hell not chasing anybody down, because guess what? I don't want what you have. You want what I have.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the last time that I was asked to sponsor somebody, I led. They used to have the meeting I went to, and you went to it, the one in Mequon,
Mm-hmm.
the club there. They used to have
Right.
a Saturday night open meeting, like I don't know, the third Saturday of the month and whatever. And I never went to that because I always chaired or secretary the 5 p.m. meeting on Saturday, and after that,
Mm-hmm.
felt like fucking eating pizza or whatever I was doing on,
Right.
not pizza on
Yeah.
Saturday, but um,
Right.
but I got asked to lead that. So that's the only time in the whatever it was 3-4 years that I went to that meeting that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an open meeting, so
Right.
this guy was there, and his wife was there. So afterwards I'm talking to some people, whatever, and so this lady comes up to me and I don't know, she said some nice things about whatever I talked about, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm not an alcoholic, but I'm here with my husband, and he I think he needs to talk to you. I'm like, if he needs to talk to me, that's fine. In my head I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, then
Yeah.
have him fucking talk to me,
Right.
But
Don't stop fucking enabling them.
right. So he came up and he starts talking to me, and he was a salesperson at a furniture store. That's what it was. And
Mm-hmm.
we started talking back and forth, and he's telling me his thing, and he's like, a lot of the things you said made sense to me. I'm like, okay. And he said, do you want to sponsor me or whatever? Would you consider it? I said, I'll tell you what.
Mm.
Let's start off this way. Do you come to this meeting? Or I said, this is the meetings I come to. I run the
Right.
Saturday one. I'm at the Friday one usually. This, that, and the other. So start coming to those meetings. Let's hang out, do whatever. Do you have a big book? I think I bought him a big book because
Mm-hmm.
they had, the literature upstairs. I said,
Right.
just start dipping into this a little bit. And I said, we'll go from there, And he did.
Mm-hmm.
He showed up at, like one of the meetings, because then he starts telling me, he's like, well, he goes, these are my hours or whatever. And I said, he goes, I can't make it on this night. I said, that's fine. But what nights can you make it,
Right.
Don't, in
Yeah.
my head, I'm again, don't tell me what you can't fucking do. Tell me what you can,
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then, a couple of weeks, maybe he was at the meetings and then he wasn't there, and
Nope.
I never even got his phone number. He said,
Mm-hmm.
you want my number? And I said, no. I said, I wrote down my number and I said, call me if you need something. I didn't even take his fucking phone number.
Nope.
And I wasn't trying to be, there was one other person during that time frame that did the same thing. And I just gave that person my number. You call
Mm-hmm.
me, just remind me, who you are.
Yeah.
And I said, if you hit my
Right.
voicemail, leave a message, I'll get back to
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, sponsoring people, and it's it's cool when it, I don't know, I was going to say cool when it works, because that's a wrong way to put it, but
Right.
let me put it this way. Both of us, I know, feel the same way. We both enjoy helping people, but
Mm-hmm.
we can only help people who want to be helped.
Absolutely. Yeah. They've got to be willing to do the work. Otherwise, there's nothing I can do for you. I
Right.
know that because I was on the other side of it. both ways. I was, I wasn't willing to do the work, and then I was willing to do the work. And hey, guess what? I did the fucking work when I was willing.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, I've got one guy that I sponsored that's still sober. He's got 3 years now, I think, something
Nice.
like that. Yeah. I mean, he moved a ways away, out in the boonies a bit, and he's getting married, and he's a stepdad now, and blah blah. But he, again, wasn't a lot. It was pretty much like me. He hooked up with a guy who he became friends with, and he's still friends with, actually, Vince.
Oh, really?
And
Cool.
yeah, and like you and me, and he did the fucking work. He'd call me once in a while and ask me a question. I'd tell him what I knew, what little that was, and but yeah, but he did the work, and he's still sober. The rest of the guys I've attempted to sponsor, none of them fucking did the work, and none of them are sober.
Right. Yeah, and it's well, just like anything else. When I figured out all that shit, can it be that simple stuff in 9 months, and then that was my light bulb moment. I didn't completely grasp everything. I still had to learn some shit.
Well, yeah, I'm still working on that.
Yeah, I still have to learn some shit, but I mean, I kind of realized that this sponsoring people shouldn't be hard, and it should be just a matter of, hey, let me take your hand, let me just show you what I do, show you where I've been.
Right.
If you need some help, I'll give you some direction, and by the way, there's a book here that we're going to walk through.
Yep.
And beyond that, it's like, I mean, you're just, again, putting training wheels on this person until they can ride the bike without falling on their fucking face.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it just shouldn't be. I don't know. I mean, it sponsorship shouldn't be that hard. It just shouldn't be. But it is. It can be difficult.
But the goddamn drunks make it hard.
Yeah, yep. And thankfully, well, I know that I probably wasn't I don't think I was necessarily difficult to deal with in the beginning, but I was fucking delusional.
Right.
I mean, if nothing else, I wasn't. If Bill told me to do something, I always did it. I never told him no or didn't. If he told me to be someplace or whatever, I always did those things. But
right. Well, yeah, that's it, man. It's starting off right. Yeah, be here at this time. Okay.
Right.
And you either do or you don't. But yeah, your odds are pretty, a hell of a lot better if you do.
Right.
Doesn't have much to do with anything else other than following some simple directions and, getting off your ass and doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was the other thing. Speaking of that lead that I did, and I've said it other times too, but that might have been the first time that I had said it in that lead and I was just talking about. But it popped into my head about, kind of a sports analogy, is just that, think about that if you're a sports team and, you're not a cheater, but somebody actually gives you, that both teams get on the field and they exchange playbooks,
right.
And so exactly what's going to happen. That's what this thing is, and the same thing is like if you sat down to take a test and somebody just put the answers right next to you and all you had to do was go through the process. The answers are all there. You just got to you got to do the work,
right,
and fill out your piece of paper. That's what this thing is.
Yep.
I mean, all we have to do is there's no secrets. Nobody's trying to hide anything from anyone.
Nope.
They give you a book that has all the answers in it. And even if you're unsure what those answers are, this guy over here or this lady over here is going to tell you what the answer means and then say, no, it's not this, it's that, plus this. Oh, there's the answer. Now just write that down and you pass the test. It's just, again, can it be that simple? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yes, it can.
Yes. So with meetings too, and this is actually one that I had written down. When you first started going to meetings, how did you pick the meetings? I mean, how did you end up going to? Because you and I talked a little bit about obviously Puritas and how long you've been going there, your home group,
right?
But how did you choose those to begin with?
I mean, I didn't. I really didn't. I mean, the two main, there were several we had to go to when we were at the Keating Center. And then what, it was 3 days a week, I think, that we could choose our meetings. I know Sunday and Friday were, we could choose what meeting we had to go to a meeting, but it wasn't a mandatory one.
Right.
And
Saturday. Saturday was a choice too, wasn't it?
yeah, I think it was.
And then what about like Tuesday was a big book study, but some people went out.
Well, yeah, I think Tuesday we could choose our meetings as well.
Yeah.
But we chose to stay at the Rock and do the big book with Dan.
Right.
Again, I didn't. Puritas was kind of chosen for me on Sunday. Friday, I remember the first month or so, I went to a couple different meetings, and a lot. Well, let's say the first month, so 4 meetings, right? My first 4 Fridays. Was taken out by other guys in the house, those guys that had been there for 3 or 4 weeks,
Right.
And they found the party meetings,
Right.
They found the meetings with the girls and the blah, blah, blah. And, I know one of them was West Clifton,
Right.
which was a party meeting. Lots of girls, lots of socializing, not a lot of recovery. Didn't like that. I knew that wasn't productive. At that point in my sobriety, and then I got Tim as a sponsor, and he said, "You're going to Who Do You Know on Friday nights?" Because that's my home group, and so that, again, I didn't choose the meetings that I stuck with. The meetings that I stuck with were chosen for me,
Right.
and imagine that,
Well,
or they were suggested.
Right. And I think that,
Yeah.
because I know, like, obviously Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, because it was Keating Center Monday, Thursday, and then West Park was on Wednesday. So those ones are the mandatory meetings that we had to go to.
Mm-hmm.
I started going to Stella Maris on Saturday right away because that's where my dad got sober, and it's like within that. If anyone doesn't know, kind of the unwritten rule in the 12-step recovery world is that whatever anniversary you have, whether it's to begin with, your first week you can go in and announce that you're brand new, that type of thing. It's usually for that first 7 days, and then for your yearly anniversaries, usually if it's within, unless something weird happens, usually if you're within a week of your sobriety date, it's cool to announce, that you're
After.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No
yes.
fronts.
Right. Yeah. No.
Just being clear.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no fronts. We've said that enough on here, but that cannot be said. That cannot be said enough. Because that's
once you've achieved that anniversary, then you can announce at a meeting for the following week. Right.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Which is painful sometimes when your anniversary is on a Saturday and you're at your Friday meeting, but it is what it fucking is. But then, so I wanted to go to Stella Maris because, again, that's where my dad got sober, and it was important for me to announce. And I heard they gave out, newcomer packets and shit like that, which they were out the day that what meeting that I went, and I'm like, yeah, fuck, whatever. But then, Who Do You Know? And I remember when we moved out of the, I think when we moved from the Keating Center to the 3/4 house, one way or the other, when I found all my sheets and stuff like that, probably when you and I moved in together, because then we could trash them all.
Right.
I looked back and I had them all saved, and I think I don't know who brought me to Who Do You Know, but I started going there the second Friday. Not the first one, I got there on a Friday to go to a meeting. That first Friday went someplace else with somebody, like you said, taken.
Right.
And then that following Friday, I started going to Who Do You Know? And then you and I were talking about the one at the, what do you call it, the recovery shop that we went to, and whatever day that was, that we went to that a couple of times. Again, I have, same thing. I don't know how I ended up getting to these meetings to begin with. But yeah, they were, I guess they were chosen for us, And then the only thing that we truly chose after the fact that we didn't have to was both of us stopped going to fucking West Park on Wednesdays.
Right. Well, I stopped before because we were house fathers and somebody had to stay. One of the house fathers, there was 3 of us. So I always scheduled myself to have house watch on Wednesday. Yep.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Because I started working at that company where I was working late nights on Wednesday and Thursday. So I got out of it as of whatever that was, beginning of September, I think. And yours
Mm-hmm.
would have been long before that. So
Yep.
that's just kind of funny. But the reason that brought up, and it's kind of funny that all that kind of blended in with the whole sponsoring question. But again, listening to a podcast, they were talking about, they would rather, in a lot of cases, go to a meeting, or that's what drew them to meetings, is where they knew people. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, that is to a certain extent. I mean, especially now, I like going to a meeting back in Cleveland to see people,
Sure.
our
Right.
friends and stuff like that. But I like going to meetings, places where I don't know anyone, just to experience a
Mm-hmm.
new thing. So I don't know, just kind of, I don't know, back and forth, kind of like, yeah, that's true. And for me, but I'm not afraid to go to a meeting where I don't know anyone.
No, not at all.
it's an adventure,
It is. Yeah, it is. It is kind of cool. Yeah, just walking in and going, hey, hi, I'm here from Cleveland. What the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah. Well, and it does. It's just it's a whole new, it just I don't know, a whole bunch of new toys to play with. Is kind of what it
Right.
is. It's like, what's this meeting all about, and who are these people? And yeah, it's conversation. You're from out of town, and people like to find out what's going on there, same as you do. Find out
Mm-hmm.
about their meetings. So,
Right.
but yeah, so it's just it. I didn't remember. I kind of knew where it was with me, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty much along the same thing. And then you've been going to Puritas. I mean, pretty much almost from the start, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Week 4 or 5. Yeah.
Right.
Like I said, Don Fox said, you know anything about
Oh
microphones? I
yeah.
said, yeah. Yeah, a little bit. He said, can you come help us set up this PA system? And I said, sure. And I've been there ever since.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's why you and I were joking about the fact that that's kind of that's your MO. You get invited someplace and then you never go away.
That's right. Feed me once, boy.
Yeah.
I keep showing up.
All right. Well, you know what? On that note, what do you think? Should we take a break?
Absolutely. Well, we'll be back with more of this nonsense right after this word from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi there.
Yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
At least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me 24 Hours, the big book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back to more nonsense with these motherfuckers. But yeah, I think that was it on the meeting part of it, or meetings part of it, and I think we beat the sponsor thing to death. And that was Imagine that. That was a topic just came up off the top of these fucking mindless heads of ours.
That's right.
But
And
just
a
a
little life experience today.
right, yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good point. I forgot that you were. See, I even forgot that how that came up. You know what? Everyone, I don't know if everyone thinks I'm joking half the time, or maybe both of us that we don't remember shit. But I mean, we've only been talking for 40 minutes, and that happened
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I fucking forgot
Ladies
it.
and gentlemen, we've done some damage to ourselves.
Right, and then but I'll remember. I can remember song lyrics, but that's mostly everyone, and that's a proven fact. Throw music to
Mm-hmm.
something, it's easy to remember shit.
Right.
But I'll remember some quote from this or something that happened to me when I was like 5,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember what happened. I can't remember a reading from yesterday.
Right.
or a conversation from fucking 15 minutes ago. So but anyhow, so real quick on my daughter and son-in-law's anniversary. It just
Yeah.
I was just kind of thinking about it because looking back at the lots of Facebook memories and stuff like that from this day, and
Mm-hmm.
they got for everyone. My daughter and I, if you haven't listened to the episode, because it made me think about that too, was within the first
Right.
first 10. I know I can't remember what episode, but I told the story about what happened to my daughter and I.
Mm-hmm.
It was because of me, because of my behavior.
Right.
I basically pushed her, not basically, I pushed her out of my life
Mm-hmm.
for 12 years. And she thankfully came back on her own when I was sober for a couple years. We
Mm-hmm.
had an opportunity from, at that point, figure 2012 until now, to rebuild what is a really, really good and strong relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yes, my grandson is wonderful, and it's great having her back in my life, and all those different things. But the being able to walk her down the aisle like that was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Huge honor, and I can't even. There's so many things that. Well, first of all, had I not got sober, I
Hmm.
I wouldn't have lived, even for another
Right.
year, let alone 6 or 3 months or whatever it was. So that's that. But on top of that, too, is that, for she gave me another opportunity to, to rebuild things with her, and it's I
Mm-hmm.
missed a lot. I missed 12 years of her life, from 13 to 25, and that's a huge point of somebody's life, especially your child's life.
Right.
But the things I've got to experience, with her and her now husband, they've been together
Mm-hmm.
since right around that time. They got together in April of 2012, and she and
Right.
I had that first start of our reconciliation in June. So they've
Mm-hmm.
been together a long time. But I, never would. He's wonderful. I love him to death.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because if I didn't like him, I just wouldn't talk about him.
Right.
But
Right.
I'm super fucking lucky, just super fucking lucky because he's a wonderful human being and I love him. But the wedding was great, the trip was great, all those sort of things. But yeah, I mean, none of this stuff happens. My point is, sobriety gave me the opportunity to become a better person and to be a part of these things, and that is fucking huge. So
Yes, it is.
but yeah, that's really all I had to say. I love both of them. They're really good together, and they brought that wonderful little man into the
Mm-hmm.
picture, and I I still haven't told her what you got them yet or what you got
Ah.
him yet. So I'm just gonna I'll see her on her the day after her birthday. I'm going up there. Yeah,
Ah.
we're actually recording on her birthday, so we can wish her a happy birthday on November 10th.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, so that next day I'll be up there. That's I wanted to kind of surprise them with it.
Nice. Cool.
So yeah, but I don't know. That's all. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. It was just it's something I don't know, huge amount of gratitude. There's a lot of things that when I do a gratitude list, it's things like that I include with it. It says the relationships and the things I've got to do, and it's
Mm-hmm.
great. So
Promises, man. Fucking promises.
I know, and you know what that made me think about is when I think it was that first time that she came out. We were at, I brought her. It was me, her mom, Kathy, and Kylie were out there. We went to
Mm-hmm.
Lydia's birthday party because she was
Yeah.
out there
Yeah. I
in
remember.
May. Yeah,
First time I met her. Yep.
yeah, exactly. That was the first time I had actually seen her. Well, I saw her when Larry passed away briefly,
Mm-hmm.
but that was kind of when we weren't
Right. I
reconciled yet at
remember.
that
Right.
point. Yeah. Um,
She's giving you the stink eye, and you earned it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was, and I'm sure. I mean, it was seriously uncomfortable for her. It had to have been.
Right.
The only contact I had with her, I just kind of walked by her at one point. I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she said yes, and that was it. So I left it be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we were talking. So she's telling me all about Brian at that time because again they had been together at that point about a year, I
Mm-hmm.
think, and I don't know, we were talking about whatever the deal was, and I said, hey, just so you know, I'm like I'm cool with having grandkids, I'm fine, at this age, in case you were wondering, and she's like, and I remember her saying, she's like, well, I think I should. She's like, I need to get married first. I'm like, fuck it, never stop me.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, and she just fucking laughed because her mom I got pregnant and then we got married and
Mm-hmm.
Dawn I got pregnant and then we got married. It was all relatively quickly, but I'm like, yeah, fuck, man, it never stopped me. But they planned everything. They want
Right.
to do some traveling. They got their dogs. They did all these different things, and
Mm-hmm.
it took them a little bit, for Ollie to come around. But
Yeah.
it
Well, because
was.
they're fucking grown-ups.
I know.
Something that we're still working on.
I know. Yeah, I'm just over there fucking raw dogging these women and being, well, I guess I'm gonna have a kid.
Wow.
I guess we're gonna have a child. Hey, you want to marry me too?
I guess. Suppose we have to.
Right. Right. But hey, just for everyone out there, that's not the conversation I had with either one of my wives. It's not. It's not. But yeah, the condom didn't break. It was yeah, we knew what we were doing. So
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so that was it. I mean, just happy anniversary to those two. And as a side note, but
Absolutely.
oh shit, no fronts. Kathy's birthday is tomorrow. Nope, no fronts. No
Yep.
fronts.
I know. All right. Yeah.
She's
We'll do that tomorrow.
she's gonna be fucking hating on it. She listened to this on Saturday, being like, "Fuck, man." But
All right. She's listening on Saturday. Happy birthday, Kathy.
yeah, exactly. As of the time she's listening to this, a happy birthday. She's 50. Oh God, 57. Oof.
Yeah, because she's a few months older than me.
Yeah.
Right.
Which God, that's right. You're gonna be 57 too.
Yeah, I'm going to be in February. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's like it's
Closer
done,
to 60 than anything else. Yeah, I
Right.
know. Right. That's right. Get the fuck off my lawn.
You know what though? After last weekend, we could talk a little bit about the Keating Center thing. But yeah, when I got back on Monday, I did shopping and did all that stuff, and it's like once I kind of got settled down, I'm like, I'm fucking tired, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we didn't stay up like really late, but we got up early-ish and did dirt. Yeah, we just had a
Right.
lot of shit going on within a couple of days, and I'm like,
Right.
fuck, man, I'm tired. But so yeah, we're at the Keating Center event. Do you want to give any sort of a recap on that? I've been
I mean,
yapping.
we can. We froze our asses off.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then 2 days later, it was fucking 70 degrees or 75 degrees and sunny. And oh, yeah, it was. Chris was like, God damn it. Why couldn't it have been like this on Sunday?
Right.
Yes, the Keating Center Clam Bake. It is. It's generally the biggest fundraiser we have for the year. I'm on the advisory board, which is basically, we run the fundraisers 3-4 times a year. And the Clam Bake is generally the biggest one. We had a really good time. We had a really good turnout. We made some money. I'll find out how much our next meeting. Yeah, it was a good time, man. Like I said, we froze our asses off, but thankfully it's not about me, like I kept telling everyone and kept telling myself over and over and over again that day. I'm trying to pay back a debt that I'll never be able to repay.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, it was good. A lot of people out there had a good time, made some money for a place that we care about.
Right.
What the hell more you want?
Yeah, and it had been. I can't even remember the last time I was at an event. It probably would have been a Clam Bake event, I'm sure. But
yeah, or maybe one of the night at the races things that.
Yeah, and it
was
was
that the last one.
That could have been, yeah, because I know I was back there in February a couple of times, but you figure all this shit would have been pre-pandemic, so
Right. Oh yeah, you definitely haven't been to one since the pandemic. That is true.
So, 3+ maybe almost 4 years ago since I've been to
Right.
one. So it was nice though. But yeah, it was, I mean, I think it might have hit 49 degrees, but there was a wind,
Mm.
the breeze, man,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fucking cold. It was
Yep.
it was fucking cold. But yeah, I wore my Sober Not Mature t-shirt, or bro, I bought a new
Mm-hmm.
long sleeve one specifically, but I'm like,
Right.
I had a t-shirt on. I had a light long sleeve shirt under that. I put my hoodie on, a zip up hoodie, and then stretched my shirt over all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, I'll be good. And it was my hands. My hands were mainly the things that were cold,
Right.
But yeah, I was doing the 50-50 tickets. So, I'm walking around and, it's like when anyone bought one, I've got to take a glove off, do this. I'm trying to tear these goddamn things. I'm trying to take
Mm-hmm.
money and not have that blow around. Again, nothing. All of it was worth it,
Of course.
but I mean, yeah, it was cold, but it was still, the thing of it is, I was even people that, I mean, granted, somebody bought their ticket prior, you're going to go at least get your meal and do whatever and kick around a little
Right.
bit, but there was plenty of people because I was up front and back and forth. I was trying to catch people as they were walking in, trying to be the
Mm-hmm.
smart salesperson. Hey, by the way,
Hey.
it's like, hey, would you like a 50-50? And, I saw a lot of people, actually buying tickets. So those people that were just coming in fresh like that, buying tickets. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's always a good time. It's a little bit better, when it's warmer, but it's
Mm-hmm.
fucking October, in Cleveland,
Right.
so
Yep.
again, crapshoot. But yeah, it was almost 80 degrees here the other day. Same deal, but
Yeah.
like, what the fuck are you gonna do, right?
What are you willing to do?
Right. But yeah, we got a chance to, talk to Michael. Our friend Michael's going to be on actually
Mm-hmm.
November 10th, Kimmy's birthday.
Nice.
So we're going to have him on. That's Crazy Megan's husband. So
Mm-hmm.
got him coming up. And then, yeah, we're going to be at that retreat the weekend of the 17th, right? The next weekend.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're recording an episode early that week, probably that Thursday, but we're going to try
Mm-hmm.
to do a live episode, not
Mm-hmm.
live for everyone to hear live, but we're going to record in
Right.
front of people at the retreat. So hopefully we're going to be able to, if
The
everything
live
works.
studio audience.
Right. But I mean, hopefully if, again, we're figuring a lot of things. We got some technology to figure out there. Hopefully Wi-Fi's there. We're
Mm-hmm.
one way or the other, we're hoping to have a nice little bonus episode that'll be fun to do after
Yeah.
that fact. But yeah, but anyhow, I just thought, yeah, it's give the Keating Center a little plug, and they do these events here and there, but at any
Right.
point they are listed on our sponsor page on
Yep.
once again our website, the Sober Not Mature website. If you want to
Yep.
give back to an organization, that's helped not only a lot of people, but have obviously clearly helped us.
Mm-hmm.
They always accept donations. You could do it right through their website. It's going to a good place and a really really good group of people. So
Yep.
there, damn it.
So there, damn it. So, yes, we were when we were hanging out this past weekend, we were talking about a lot of shit because that's what we do. But I had mentioned to you that Rob Halford from Judas Priest was on Mark Maron's podcast
Yep.
a week or so ago. And I said, you should give it a listen because, Mark's got 20, almost I think 28 years, and Rob Halford's got 36 years sober. So, and they talked a little bit about secret society shit.
Right. So, and I did listen to it. That's why I had texted you and told you I enjoyed it. Because first of all, what's funny is that that literally, I'm staring right at my note on here. That was the next thing I was going to talk about. So it's really between everyone out there, it's fucking weird sometimes how he and we start talking about the same shit. It just
we share a brain.
It's creepy. Okay, it's just fucking creepy sometimes.
Right. Because God knows neither one of us have a full one to ourselves. So,
right.
we have to share a brain.
Right. So, yeah, if anyone doesn't know, Rob Halford is the lead singer for Judas Priest, and Mark
the
Maron,
metal god.
Yeah, the metal god. And again, a lot of these things I'm sure I knew because I know Judas Priest. I've listened to the music. I'm not I was never a huge metal fan, never huge in the Judas Priest, but I listened to them. I mean, that was kind of in the '80s. They were around, like everything else.
Yeah.
But
Right.
So again, I was aware of a lot of things, but. And Mark Maron, both Mike and I listen to him. He talks to a lot of different people, but he's got a great format. Feel free. He doesn't need us to promote his ass, but
fuck no, he doesn't.
Listen to him. He's good. But so two things. Well, one thing right off the bat, I didn't know he was sober, and I was going to ask you
Mm,
about the number of years because I must have missed it, but I didn't realize he's been sober for 36 years.
yep.
So I didn't know that, or if I did, I forgot it. And you know what?
Right.
The other thing is, I did not know he was gay. I had no fucking idea. And
You've never seen a picture of him.
oh yeah,
All the leather.
well, yeah,
Right. When he was still in the closet, like, really? He said, fuck, everybody knew. Well, I knew 82.
right.
But yeah, he was still in the closet and, wasn't officially out. But it was like, Jesus Christ, look at the dude. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, and again, same thing. I didn't know it. That's why I started off to say, I knew their music. I didn't know a lot about them or anything like that. So I
Mm-hmm.
never really paid as much attention, maybe. But so yeah, I didn't know that. But he was talking about that in the fact that, at the record label and everyone was telling him you can't come
Right.
type of thing. Which, I mean, we know a lot of people. We've got a lot of friends with different
Mm.
lifestyles and things like that.
Huh.
We've heard a lot of stories about some of the shit that people go through, but I can only imagine that would be difficult, But
Mm-hmm.
and he was worried, about what the fucking fans would think and say
Right.
based on his persona and all these different things. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of fucked up. But I mean, it was so. But he talked about that openly. The other
Right.
the other thing though is that I love the fact during that conversation because and I call it that because that's what Mark calls it.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't interview
Right.
people; they have a conversation. But
Right.
then Rob was asking him questions. They were having almost like this, almost like a even though I don't want to use interview, but Rob
Mm-hmm.
was asking Mark as many, not as many, but questions back and forth.
Right.
It
Oh
was
yeah.
just it was just so fucking engaging. It was great.
Yeah.
But this is the one out of everything, and I enjoyed the episode. Seriously, even if you're not a Judas Priest fan, if you're into recovery or anything like that, a couple of sober guys talking shit,
Right.
it's a great episode to listen to. And
Mm-hmm.
that was the recent one, right?
Oh no, no, no. It's about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Okay, but I mean, relatively, it's
Mm-hmm.
somebody's not gonna have to dig that far for it. So,
No.
um, but the thing that got me is I don't know if actually, I think Mark mentioned he was talking about something that Mark used the word nostalgia, and this was a
Mm-hmm.
question I thought was great because Rob Halford says he goes, "So what does nostalgia mean to you?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I wrote down because I'm like, you and I just used that, or I used that word a year ago when we were
Mm-hmm.
booking the whole thing in the Chippewa Lake thing.
Right.
But and I know what they had said in there, but what do you if somebody asks you that question, what does nostalgia mean to you? How do you describe it?
Well, I mean, for me, um, remembering the good times, in between all the shit, uh, because it's life, man. It's a mix of good and bad. It's having a fondness for the good stuff, and yeah, because there was good stuff, but. Again, dangerous shit for me because I can't dwell on the past. And being nostalgic does sort of make you dwell on it. I choose to dwell on the here and now, and the here and now is pretty fucking good. So that's why I try to focus on that. But yeah, I mean, yes, there were good times back then. But I can't get wrapped up in it. I mean, just off the top of my head, being in Japan with my ex-wife, and walking around there, and I'm really glad I got to live that, and it was great. I had some wonderful times over there, meeting Tony Bennett, it was fucking great, but it's got nothing to do with right now, you know.
Right.
So it was yeah, it's nice. It's watching A Christmas Story. It's nostalgic, um, of a time that doesn't fucking exist anymore.
Right.
So yeah, yeah. I don't have much use for it. It's pleasant occasionally to brush past it, but I don't have a lot of use for it.
Yeah, and I know what you mean because it's and it was when they asked the question, the only reason I made a note of it because it's one of those those things that make you go type of questions, because I'm
Hmm.
like how do I know what it is. I know what it is. I
Right.
know what nostalgia is. I know it's nostalgic. It was the fact that I had used that word again like a year ago, and it was the whole Chippewa Lake thing. It
Right.
just it was good, fond memories of a time when,
Hmm.
as kids, and
Right.
life wasn't always fucking, strawberries and unicorns even back then.
Right.
Because at that point, I'm pretty sure if mom and our dad, if they were still together, their relationship was shit.
Right.
And if they were not together, things weren't good on the outside, but
Right.
I mean, mom always tried to make it good for us. They did not deal well with each other, and it, leaked out over all of us. But
Of course.
that is what it is. But so, but back to the, like you said, the drinking things, those little pieces. Everyone always says, and there's that saying that you hear around the rooms all the time, and then on Instagram and all that stuff. Anywhere, people always say, my worst day sober is better than my best day drunk. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe your best day drunk, but I mean, there was, you and I have talked about this openly. We had
Hmm.
some really fucking great times during our
Oh
drinking
yeah.
days,
Oh hell yeah.
and things that were just, we didn't get in trouble. We had a fucking great time.
Yep.
And if it could have just again, if it could have just been
Right.
that, that
Uh
fun
huh.
time, cool. And if I didn't end
Right.
up needing it and, shaking in the morning to put my contacts and,
Yeah.
doing all that shit, wonderful. DUIs and
Hmm.
hospitalizations and heating centers and all that stuff.
Right.
But you're right.
Crying children. Right.
Right. But that's the thing, it's figuring out that we're, well, as alcoholics, I think we're pretty good at that. We're going to go, well,
Hmm.
that time was really good, and that time
Right.
was really good. But what you're looking at is, 7 needles, maybe 12 or 13 needles in a fucking, pile of hay. It's in a
Yep.
big old fucking haystack,
Pile of
and
manure.
yes, with manure mixed in.
Yes.
So yeah, there's some good times, but there's no fucking way we can focus on those because
Right.
you're right. I didn't think about that until you said it. That's the dangerous part,
Hmm.
is realizing that, but the same thing, if we're not doing the work, if we're not taking the action, if we don't do the things every day that we're supposed to do, everything that we talk about all the time, those little needles in that fucking shit stained
Hmm.
haystack, are going to sound pretty fucking good, if we
Right.
let them.
Right. Right. And I mean, I liked Halford's, when he answered the question, he was like, you know what nostalgia is? He clearly someone that's working a program. He turned it around and he didn't have it for himself. He said, you know what nostalgia is for me? It's that 50-year-old guy standing out in the crowd with a Bud Light in his hand screaming, play Living After Midnight. That's, right. That guy's out there reliving his fucking teenage years for, an hour and a half or 2 hours on a special occasion. He gets to do that because he can do that. That's nostalgia. And he's happy for him to have that. But he turned it around and said, yes, it's good for someone else. It's not my life.
Right.
That's not what I do. Yeah. And that's it for me too. Nostalgia is happy memories for someone else, because man, again, I can't focus on those couple of needles in that pile of fucking manure. Because if I do, it's real goddamn dangerous, and I'll start going, well, maybe it wasn't that bad.
Right.
And then I start eating that shit again. No, thank you.
Right. And you know what? It's and I thankfully both of us realize that it would not be that, they from the point that we're at right now today, thankfully sober and hopefully, spiritually fit, as they say,
Uh-huh.
or as spiritually fit as we can be.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't say well. We're not well.
Uh-huh.
We're
Oh
just
no.
just spiritually fit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not that far of a leap between what we are today and what we were, and
Right.
it's literally one drink away, which is
Yep.
that was the part that if anyone needs to buy into anything, and I don't like that saying when it comes to this,
Mm-hmm.
or be sold on anything. I
Mm-hmm.
get it when people, people like to say that, it was sold right away and all. I get it. For me, it really wasn't that. I had to accept and I had to learn and I had to let it be ingrained in me, rather
Right.
than just have something. I couldn't have this be sold to me because it wouldn't have been genuine to me.
Right.
But it that's the buy-in, if nothing else, is to get to that point where you realize that yeah, one drink is everything. Everything is there, everything is gone, with one, because playing the tape through, you're going to end up, like you said, eating that shit again.
Yep.
And you're not going to remember the seventh drink. You're not going to remember the ninth day that you were on a fucking bender. Only thing
Nope.
you're going to remember is, you picking up that glass and taking that first drink, or, that first shot, or, toke, or whatever it is, that's the one. That's the one that's going to kill us. That's it.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it was just very interesting to me when I thought it might be. I just wanted to hear your take on that word, because
Yeah.
it took me. And again, I try really hard not to think about these things too deeply if I make notes on it, because I don't want to get some preconceived idea in my head. I'd rather just make these notes and then forget they're here, like I do most of the time.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So basically, nostalgia is like drugs and alcohol. I'm happy other people can do it, but I can't.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and there was something that came up on Instagram about that. I forget what it was. Something I posted on whatever. But that's the same thing we talk about all the time. Neither one of us are anti-alcohol. We're not. Just because we can't, doesn't mean that we have to look at other people that do. Now, same thing that we always say, and we qualify the fact, if somebody's over there doing their thing and it affects us negatively, that's a different story.
Right.
Or if they're hurting other people, then that's a different story. Then we're anti-behavior, not alcohol, right?
Right. Oh yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, shit. I live here in Ohio. In a couple of weeks, I'll be voting, and I'm going to be voting yes on legalizing recreational marijuana. I can't do it, but prohibition doesn't fucking work. Black market and making people, criminals out of behaviors, and it's all stupid. So yeah, I'm not, again, I'm not anti-drug. I'm shit, man. I wish everything was fucking legal and regulated and taxed and safe and, but that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
Right. But I will be voting yes. So you're welcome, potheads.
Right. Yeah. And
you a pothead fucker?
I'm not a pothead. I pass on grass. But yeah, I mean, but that's the main thing, and I think that's like you said, it's in the big book, I believe, too. That we're not supposed to, and I wouldn't want to, stand up on
Well, I mean, you got to remember, man. The two founders, Bob and Bill. I mean, they had the worst of it when alcohol was illegal in this country.
Right.
They were still drunk as fuck.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So they knew the futility of prohibition.
Right.
They were in the midst of their disease when it was illegal.
Yeah, exactly. So to each his own, and I think that we've always made that perfectly clear. But but yeah, so no, again, the whole episode, I really, and I had bypassed it because I thought I saw something else, and it wasn't. I mean, sooner or later I would have got around to it, but I haven't listened to Mark Maron in a while. But I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed that entire episode. I mean, it was great. I mean, yeah, they talked about music, but they talked about so much more, which is that's kind of the thing with Maron, is he doesn't always key into whatever the thing is that person does. They just talk about life and everything else, and it was done well. It's done well.
And Halford's an intelligent worldly man. He's got some shit to say.
Yep, no doubt. Yeah, he's not just some,
and plus he makes some fucking great music.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not just some fucking airheaded metal guy. He's
right, like Ozzy.
Right. Yeah, it was. But yeah, seriously, no, it was a great conversation. I'm glad you mentioned it, because I probably would have come across it at some point, but actually listened to it. But no, I really enjoyed it.
Right.
All right. So what about you want to hear some comments from our followers?
Absolutely.
All right, so this one is from an individual, and she interacts with us quite a bit. Not one of the regulars that I really know, but I've seen a lot of her lately. So she's cool with us. But on one of the posts that I had, again, probably some fucking nasty ass meme that I had.
I'm sure there was a dildo involved.
Yeah, probably a dildo or a vibrator, or, some
Mm-hmm.
crotch or something like that. Balls, I don't know, an anus, something. You get the point. But
Aha.
so her comment was, and I just copied and pasted this, so this is exactly what it said. I need to listen to your podcast to make sure this is really a sober page.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't think I'm at the right party, but I'll stay, and I brought friends.
Mm.
Keep up the sober, sinful debauchery if it keeps people from using and drinking alcohol. So I thought that was just kind of fun. She was just fucking with us, but
Right.
it was just great. I don't know. I don't think I'm
Welcome to the party.
Yeah, don't think I'm at the right
We
party,
have fun.
but
We are not a glum lot.
exactly. And then this another comment that we just got today, and I didn't write down, but just thought about it. This today or yesterday, I think. I got a message, a DM from this one guy. He's like, he goes, I think I figured out who the person is you're talking about, about the word, taking away the word alcohol. And he goes, is it? And he named the person. And I messaged him back, and I said, yep. I said, ding, ding, you got it. But I'm like, I said, the thing of it is I'm not gonna out the person. Obviously, cross interest, but on top of that, this person helps people, whatever. And it doesn't matter anyhow.
Right.
But
right.
But he was just like, he goes, I'm just happy that I figured it out, which I thought was funny. And then
see, do the work, get the results.
I know, yeah. And this another one that he's a, I'd say, constant contributor and commenter and all that stuff. The guy's fun. He's a lot of fun. But then we got a comment from a random today.
Rendo.
Yeah, and this was I don't know. Did you see the one about where it says I slowly slid her panties to the side, and then it says
I did
put away her socks or whatever it was.
Right. Yeah.
So I got to tell you another comment along that. But this first one, this is like right away this morning, and I'm gonna say it in the voice that I thought it was in. Okay. Okay. Here we go. How does all of your nasty content actually help to get people sober? And a lot of times,
well, Karen.
Yeah, exactly. 9 times out of 10, I put like a laughing emoji and I walk out. But I was feeling a little sparky this morning, so
All right.
I commented back, and this is just a memory, but I said it's called humor. And then I said that was the first thing. It's called humor. And I said, and on top of that, I said both of us have been sober for 13 and a half years, so we must be doing something right. And then put a big old fucking smiley on there, and went on with my day.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of people that actually liked my comment after that. But
nice.
Yeah, and then another comment that we got, which I didn't write down, but I just forgot about it or just remembered it. But on that same post, again, this chick that interacts with us quite a bit, I think she listens, so she's probably going to hear this. She goes, who puts, or something like, she's like, you don't put socks in with panties. Were you raised?
That's right.
Were you raised by wolves? And my comment back was, I said, I think that was the best comment that I've ever read. Thank you. But yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Kind of animal puts their fucking socks and underwear in the same drawer.
Yeah.
I don't.
No. Yeah, you know what? I guess I don't either. I would. I don't give a fuck. But
yeah, right.
I don't.
Except we don't have to live that way today. I have separate drawers for my socks and underwear because I'm living large, thanks to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Right, but I mean, I think I'm kind of trying to think. Oh, you know what? I didn't have. For years. I'm trying to think from the time that Dawn and I split, which would have been 2006. I have not owned a dresser. Okay, I've not owned a dresser. I was just going to say I had a dresser at the 3/4 house. And I had a dresser at the Keating Center. But
right.
You remember I bought that big cabinet, that
right.
we had when you and I moved in together, and at the 3/4 house because I needed more room for my clothes. And then all the other places I lived, I bought these, like, I don't know, they're like racks. They look like, it's that concept of having milk crates, but they're not. They're about that size.
Right.
But they're a nice wired rack that I had all my clothes in my closet. So I just never,
I
haven't had a dresser since then. I mean, I have a dresser here, but it's not mine, so.
Right.
I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't need all the dressers. Just put them in a closet. They were stacked up. They were nice, But anyhow, just
folded and right.
Yeah, I do. I wash my clothes and I fold them and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But no, it's just every once in a while, it just these comments, and again, it just all three of those comments came, or four of them came, just this week. So it made me laugh. I just and
Right.
we've got some
So
very
hang on a sec.
yeah.
Read that original comment again about how does this keep people sober or whatever the fuck it was.
Do I have to do
What'd
this?
she say?
Um,
What'd Karen say?
Hang on. How does all of your nasty content actually help to get people sober?
It doesn't, honey. It's to show people that we can still have fun and be happy, sick people and stay sober.
Right.
That's all.
Yep.
Get sober. It's not going to get you sober. The only thing that's going to get you sober is doing the fucking work and cleaning your shit up. That's what's going to get you sober.
Yeah, which I think
what's going to keep you sober is sick little comments that make you smile.
Right. Yeah. Showing that the same thing as we've talked about before. There's no fucking way that we would keep doing this if we weren't enjoying ourselves. I mean,
of course.
Again, you don't get sober to have some fucking boring life. And that was actually another a guy threw out the Rule 62 comment on that post.
Thank you.
I said Rule 62. Thanks for posting, guys. I'm just and I'm now just remembering all this shit as it's popping up. This is great. This is how my memory has been triggered. A trigger in a good way.
You've been triggered.
I've been triggered in a good way. But seriously, I mean, granted, I 100% understand that our page has turned into a fucking sick, perverted, inappropriate mess. But that's not our fault.
Yeah. That's us.
Right.
Sick, inappropriate mess. Right. But we're sober. Right. We're being examples.
Right.
Attraction rather than promotion.
Well, and there's been plenty of people that have said that. They're like, anytime these comments come up, which surprisingly don't come up that often, we don't get a lot of negative comments. But when they do, there's usually, some of our followers that come to our defense and, will say something like, hey, you guys keep doing what you're doing. We know you guys are, solid. You're just fucking around and we appreciate it. We appreciate the lightheartedness. We appreciate the fact that people can still have fun and all that stuff, and it's, yeah.
That is the point.
Right.
Right. We are, yes. And there's nothing wrong with sick humor. And if you're offended by it, Jesus Christ, go lock yourself in a closet somewhere. You won't drink and you'll be fucking miserable.
Right. It's just that it always...
Not me, though.
Yeah, it's somebody who... It's not a follower of ours. So somebody just, ran across us through the hashtags, which always makes me... It always makes me happy because then I know at least, that when I wonder if our hashtags are working, because that's what draws the majority of the people to a post. Like, well, whatever the hashtag I used, which I don't know what it was, it drew somebody in. So, yeah, it's all good.
It is.
But I was just trying to think. You know what? I got one more I got one more simple one. Okay.
All right.
And this is from Keep It Simple. Haha. Teach me to stop. This is I think this was the action or the whatever the closing thing is on there. So it says, teach me to stop and think when I get to a wall. Maybe it's there for my safety. So it was just one of those moments and I'm like, I like that. So I just figured I'd bring it up and, I didn't think it'd take on too big of a long drawn out conversation, but what do you think about that? So teach me to stop and think when I get to a wall. Maybe it's there for my safety. What does that mean to you, Mike?
Well, if I recall correctly, it was in reference earlier in the reading to hitting your head against a wall. Right. And this wall is in my way. I'm going to smash my head into it. And it all comes back down to acceptance and powerlessness. And maybe that wall is there for a reason,
right?
Whatever that reason is. And it might be your safety. It might be keeping you away from whatever the hell's on the other side of it that you don't fucking need to be around. Right. Yeah. But again, don't, it is a wall. There's nothing you can do about it. Stop hitting your head against it. And maybe it is there for your safety. So accept it.
Right.
Because one way or another, it's not moving. It's a fucking wall. And it's stronger than you. So either way, if it's keeping you, and if it's really keeping you from something, find a way around it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and it just I don't know. Every once in a while, those things just made me pause for a minute. I'm like, yeah, write that down. It might be an interesting conversation, but it was just the safety part. It made me think about. I'm like, yeah, you know what? And you said it. I mean, things happen for a reason. Things
Mm-hmm.
come, things, people, places, and things come into our
Right.
paths for a reason.
Yep.
And it could be again, even if it's a quote unquote negative thing like a fucking wall. There's a reason for it. We don't necessarily have to know what it is, but
Mm-hmm.
at some point, I believe the term is more will be revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll become clear, and then maybe it won't. Kind of like those couple of days I had when since we've been recording. At some point, I'm like, man, I'm in a fucked up mood, or man, I don't feel like this and feel like that. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea why, and maybe 3 months down the road, I'll figure it out. Maybe I won't, and
Right.
it doesn't fucking matter. Like you said, it's
It doesn't.
yeah, figure
One
out.
way or another, it's gonna fucking pass, and it's gonna be nostalgia.
Okay, you know what? I think we're going to close up on that one because that kind of put
Yeah.
us all full circle into some sort of fucking circle.
Some sort of squiggly line
Right.
somewhere.
And I got fucking nothing else on here. We got other stuff we got to talk next week. It's first of the month
Yep.
next week, and we'll have
Right.
the step, and we can talk about if we want to recap a little bit on our first year since Mom's gone and all those different things. So plenty
Absolutely.
of other stuff to talk about. But for now, you know what? It's your turn.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, go out and do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't tell anybody you did it. And now it is time. It is that time. It is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate. Dream the impossible dream and keep fucking off forever.
You have had it added a little bit of the brrr into it,
Eh,
but I like it. I like it.
right.
And it really does. It makes me. It makes me really. I was going to say super happy. I'm not going to say that. It makes me really happy.
Uh-huh.
Really happy to have that that thing that Breeze did for us at the end. I love that. It flows in so nicely, and I just like it. I like it. So.
Right. It almost sounds like we're professional and we know what the hell we're doing.
I know. Yeah. Just
Almost.
But and it does. It doesn't take that much editing. It's just a little slice here, a little mush there, and get it all together, and it's all good. So.
Force it in.
Yes. And that's you know what? That's why 60% of our listeners right now are female. Really, lately in the last
That's
in the last
right.
7 days, we got the chicks back. So yeah, baby, we're gonna put it in.
All right.
Force it in.
God.
I know. We're done.
We
Fuck
have to
it.
stop now.
All right. You know what? I love you, brother, and I will talk to you soon.
I love you too. All right.
Bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.